welcome to the CrackOn podcast, hosted by me, John Saunders. CrackOn! Hello, and welcome to another edition of the CrackOn podcast, episode 11, series 3. And this week, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Chris Case of Case Morgan Developments. Chris is an all-round top guy, humble to the core, and I really enjoyed recording this with him. So without further ado, Chris Case. Morning, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good, yeah, really good, mate. Thanks, really good. Thanks for inviting me and killing me last night at the rugby. So for all the audience, Chris invited me to a rugby event last night, Sevens, and it's my first rugby for about the last 5 years. So I really enjoyed it, but thank you very much for that.
You'd have never known it had been 5 years. You were looking sharp out there. Putting me to shame, definitely. So, no, it's great to have you involved.
Flattery gets you everywhere, mate. Flattery gets you everywhere. Right, so yeah, on to the first question, mate. So what does CrackOn mean to you?
What does CrackOn mean to me? I suppose CrackOn to me means have a go. You know, you'll never accomplish anything in life if you don't have a go. If you fail, you failed, but you tried. You know, crack on, give it a go, and see what comes of it.
Yeah, you got examples of that then, mate? We've all got a few examples of that. You got any specific examples of that?
Oh, I've cracked on, I've had a go, and I've failed at many things, mate. Well, in fact, you know, how we know each other, obviously, been in property a long time now, and it was always the way, coming from a family business to progress into where we are. But as you know, I had a little sabbatical halfway through where I tried giving the club promoting game a go.
Yeah.
Try something different, which is where we first crossed paths. And I wouldn't say failed miserably, but yeah, you know, we had all the right intentions, we had all the ambition and heart, but it was a tough game to crack, and there was a lot of competition, a saturated market, but also learned a lot from it. Got a lot of good experiences, and look back on it fondly. I still get a lot of stick.
Good times you were back on that. It was good, mate, wasn't it? In Tiger back in the day, that.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was really good fun, and it was a really good experience. I mean, you know, I'd come from working in property from 17 to going and doing a degree to going into quite a corporate world, working for some agencies and things. And I just thought, you know, I'm too young for this at the minute. I want to try something new.
Yeah.
So I tried something new, gave it a cracked on.
Yeah.
But after, I mean, I gave it 18 months to almost not far off 2 years. Yeah. And then I just, long-term property was what I needed to come back to. Yeah, and I cracked on coming back to property.
Yeah, which we'll come to in a bit then, mate. So second question I ask everyone is, have you ever had, or do you have sort of a mentor or idols in your life that have really had big impacts on where you are now?
I've had a couple of personal mentors. Yeah, definitely. There's someone. Share them? Yeah. You know, they're not big into social media or anything like that, so I don't know if they'll ever even see this. But there's a guy.
You never know, mate. You never know.
Yeah, no, I got a guy called Whitaker who has been quite literally like my business mentor. He worked for my family company for a long time and showed me the ropes. Yeah. And I did secondments when I was younger with a couple of different companies, and another guy called Ed Rankin, who the two of them are very close now, friends and mentors. But the positive impact they've had on me in terms of teaching me about property, but I suppose I could just always had the sense that they just had a willingness that they wanted me to succeed, and that's lovely to see that someone just generally wants to push you in the right direction, so they want to help you. And there's been a lot of tough love from them both along the way, but no, they've been fantastic influences for me over the years, and definitely people I still look up to now.
Yeah, and I take it's funny with mentors and people like that surround yourself with. It's totally true, and I find it very true. You know, you're as good as the people you surround yourself with, and those guys, you know, those two guys specifically, they would have had a big impact on you. I would have taken it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Norman in particular is long in the tooth in the property world. He's got a wealth of experience, and you know, I'm sure I've frustrated him over the years with how I've gone about things, but he's always dragged me back to the right path and made sure that I learned appropriately and did things the right way. He's always been someone who's strong on principles and morals, and it's something that reflects both in business and in personal life. And I've been very lucky to have people like that in guiding me in the right direction.
And I know you don't like blowing your own trumpet, but going back to, the morals and, one thing you are, and I'm going to say it quite openly, very strong at is something you've always been polite, always been approachable, always been, when I say crack on, I wanted to get you on because you've got a total crack on attitude. And I think, what you just said then about the morals, and it's really, it comes so much across in how you present yourself as well. It's brilliant, mate.
No, it's kind of good to say, and I appreciate that. Thank you, mate.
Yeah. I know, and you're going slightly red, but anyone who's not watching it, he's going red at the moment, so that's cool. Right, so talk us through Chris Case in life, then. Talk us through how you got the Case Morgan development. Start from the beginning for the audience, so they get a feel and a taste of Chris's life.
Yeah, well, I've been very lucky that my family business was property, and so I guess from a young age it was always the path that I was directed towards. In terms of developments and things, my dad was into it before me, and he'd be taking me around development sites at a young age and showing me the ropes, as you say. Yeah. And I got to 17, and I went and did a little bit of work experience with Chris John estate agencies. Yeah. Chris, who sadly passed away, was very, very good to me, looked after me at the time. And, gave me that first opportunity there. After A-level and in between going to uni, that he gave me a full-time job for a year and gained a fantastic amount of experience. And that's where one of my mentors I've mentioned, Ed Rankin, who was a chartered surveyor, came into my life and took very much like a big brother role with me. And, he always would joke, I'd be his oppo, he'd say, and he'd send me out to do all the tasks he didn't want to do. Yeah. But then equally, he'd come into the office however many times a day and say, right, I'm going, knowing that where I would end up, knowing that the long-term plan was development, that he'd say, like, I'm going to a property later that's got subsidence or something like that, come and have a look and I'm going to explain it to you. And, it was kind of a bit of an apprenticeship for a lot of different routes there in terms of learning about the physical fabric of buildings, dealing with developers at that time and watching their journey of purchasing opportunities and turn them into the end product, whilst also understanding the market. So that for me was, the best foregrounding I could have ever had, because I was
because that's the crux of I look at I had a little bit of a taster of land development, or not so much development, but in that world that you're in, when I was with Smarter for a small period of time. And it's the relationships. I mean, whatever happens, it is a relationship game, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's got to be something that, you've got to speak to the right people and know the right people. In Cardiff's a village, and, and the property market's a village as well. And you've got to, as we've said before, you've got to treat people the way you'd want to be treated. And, if people come to you for help them out, but with the hope that one day someone will bring you an opportunity as well. So,
but it sounds like as though that, Chris John, that early days of where you started, that really brought you into that world of understanding that. And that's, like you say, that is gold dust, isn't it? You can't put a price on that.
Absolutely. I won't name him, but working at that time on behalf of a lot of, very accomplished property developers who, it was great for me to watch what they were doing. And again, just, pick stuff up as I was going along and learn from accomplishments and failures, which undoubtedly everyone will have. I've had, and everyone will have as you go along as part of the journey. And so that was great for me. And then went and did a degree, came in business, came back, started working for a big commercial agency for a while. And that's at the point then when I decided I wanted to have my sabbatical. Yeah. Got a bit of, completely different, but got my experience in working in the events and nightclub industry and everything. And it was a completely different world, but it was brilliant because again, it just, it's part of the journey and it helps sculpt you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, mate. It does.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer with things like that. You've got to, you've got to try. I mean, there's loads of people say to me, bloody hell, you've done this, you've done that, you've done whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, what I'm trying to do is find out, and one what I enjoy, but two, I don't mind failing at anything, because I know if I fail, I'm one step closer to finding something that is really going to go off, and it sounds like your sabbatical was very much like that.
Oh, very much so. And then, I came back then kind of with my tail between my legs saying, I'm going to go and I failed. Can I come work for the family company? And the answer was no, no, not at that point. It was yes, no, absolutely, but you need to still gain experience. So very luckily, Chris John were kind enough to take me back on. I went back there for a few more years, continued to learn the industry and learn the ropes. And when the time was right, I came full time into my family company and started off doing a bit of development and commercial management stuff that we do. Yeah. But then I was always on the hunt I really wanted to push forward with the residential development side. And I just kind of stumbled across an opportunity with a good mate of mine, being Rod Morgan. And he said, Rod's brilliant for me. He's literally, Case and Morgan, he's the yin to my yang and all that. And we work great together. And, we're like a family now, in terms of he's first person I speak to most days, sometimes even before my wife.
I can understand that.
And we started off in that we had a joint venture of a project. We gave it a go, and as we come to the tail end of it, we said that this works. We both were like-minded in terms of the type of projects that we wanted to build to. Yeah. We knew that we could do it on our own. So we joined up, and there was a long slog then of knowing the kind of projects we wanted to progress up to, and we had to arrange the funding. And the hardest part is the acquisition and finding the right opportunities. That's.
I was going to say, because the whole. There's two questions I've got. Moving slightly backwards. Was there a moment when you were doing your bar stuff and your events and things? Was there a certain moment that you knew this wasn't for you, or this wasn't it for it? Was there a certain time that you can remember?
I think at that point, I was very much, as we all are every day, but I was learning, as you go along. And one thing I learned is, unfortunately, people will let you down a lot of the time. Yeah. And I ended up, just doing a lot of stuff myself. So I was trying to, people used to say to me, "Oh, you got it great. You just stand on the front of, a club and And I was like, yeah, but I've also been out this morning flyering since whatever."
Don't see that back end work, mate. Do they? Don't see the back end work.
Yeah, going around putting up posters and things like that. And I think at that point, towards the end of it, I actually met my wife. She was an optician doing a 9-to-5 job, and right. I was working as we we'd be catching up at 3 a.m. in back room of Tiger or whatever it was. And I just thought, yeah, we're like passing ships here. And I think I knew that at that point I wanted something which was going to align our time schedules a little bit more. And I think I knew that long-term property was the foreground in I've had, is what I knew. I'd given something new a go. But yeah, it was time to come back to it.
Yeah, and then a follow-on question, let's call that. Then the other bit about going on your own. So for the audience, because there'll be people sat there thinking, that taking that bold step, taking that. So when you and Rod got together, again, talk us through a bit more about that decision about going together and actually what you did, so the guys, the audience can sort of understand those steps you took.
Yeah, well, we knew that we wanted to work. We wanted what we started to continue. We knew that we needed to do that from. So we started the new business, being Case Morgan, and we were both respectively working for our family companies at the time. Rod was owned an estate agency; he'd be running that, and then we were trying to get projects off the ground as part of this new venture. And then we came across a couple of opportunities, and we just said, we've got to push on with it. But arranging the funding, finding the opportunity, as I said, being able to crack on with it. I think the good thing of the experience that we've both had is I suppose we both know the market quite well, and I guess we understand who the target demographic is for specific properties. And so that's what we try and do, is choose projects with an end user in mind, and then design a product that we think that end user would want. And that's it's quite a hard thing to do sometimes, because obviously everyone's got specific tastes and styles and things like that. And so we just try and produce something which we think will cater for the masses of that particular demographic, that the age category who's going to be in contention for a certain sort of property, and the location area. Everything can be very specific. Maybe a city centre apartment might be something for a young professional, and they might want something a bit different, a bit out there. Or a bit cooler as such, whereas somewhere is a more suburban place on the outskirts, especially if it's a higher end property, there might be the 40 plus property market, people who can buyer market, people who can afford that. And there's a lot of research that goes into the assessment of projects and the viability of them, in terms of how much is this going to cost us to do, and is there going to be a margin on the other side. And so linking up with Rod, the two of us kind of being able to combine that experience was fantastic. And also as part of the Morgan, it's not just myself and Rod, it's Rod's father, John, who again developing for a long time.
And so he knows the game, mixture of experience and knowledge and fresh sort of impetus into the market, isn't it?
John's experience is phenomenal. He's been there, he's done it, he's won the t-shirt.
I had the pleasure of meeting him. He's a lovely guy as well. Just a really nice guy, but he just knows his stuff. He really does. And someone who's guided me again, and the experience of when Rod and I have presented things sometimes, and he's kind of a bit like, oh, have you thought of XYZ? That little you get with life experience from it. And again, we've all become, like as I said, not just a business partnership. I consider them like family as well, and it's lovely. That's great, mate. It's like it's something to lean on as well, isn't it? That partner, those people that are out on their own, they're out in their own. They've still got surrounded by, you've still got to be surrounded by great people. But when you go into partnerships, you've got to trust them. You've got to know them. You've got to, and there's so many examples, and you see down the line that, partnerships haven't worked out, but that's why the platforms have got to be there, haven't they? It can't be formed on quicksand. It's got to be on sound foundations when you go into partnerships like that.
Absolutely. I mean, Rod and I talk on a daily basis about, I wouldn't say we clash heads as such, but that we definitely have different tastes in terms of design. We look at kitchen designs, for example. Something we dealt with you. Specific taste. He'll have another, but rather than butt heads on it, we'll debate it, and then we'll come to the best conclusion going forward. And we're however many years into working together now, and we always seem to find a route to find something which we think works best for everyone. So it's very much a collaborative process, and it's a nice way to work.
And it's nice. You can see that with the two of you as well. That it's just a really good partnership going in, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's nice to go to work with your mate every day as well.
Absolutely, mate. I love that. That's just a gem, that is. I've got some real close friends that I've worked with, and it is just really nice to go to work with a really good friend, and you've got a common goal, which is what you both have. You both offer the same, but you've had some ups and downs, haven't you? I mean, property development isn't plain sailing by any stretch. You got any?
No.
You got talk us through a few of them, mate.
I mean, there's so many different parameters that come into it, in terms of, as we said, finding the projects to begin with, arranging funding, because, developing multiple unit, any sort of development, whether you're refurbing, a single unit house, or you're building 5, 6, however many detached properties, it costs a lot to do so. So arranging the funding to do that, having the right team around you as well, in terms of design, working with the right professional people, is it's essential to have the right people for the right job. And as well, jobs can throw unexpecteds at you. You've always got to factor in a contingency cost into your costings, because things will crop up. If you're refurbishing an existing property, and you're going to hack off a wall and find 10 problems sometimes. And
I bet. And also, I bet there's where you're developing, there's always going to be contention regarding, there's always feelings around if you're developing a unit, it's that relationship management, but actually people get very sort of change their tone when it affects their backyard.
Oh, absolutely. People are very reluctant, which any of us would be, and unfortunately, that's kind of comes with the territory with development. The world is ever changing. The population is increasing. Cardiff, I think now in the next local development plan has a requirement for 46,000 new homes. Right. Some people see it positive in the city growing. Others see that as a negative in that you're congesting the city, you're bringing more pollution in and things like that. There's always two sides to the coin in people's perception. What we try and do is, we're not mass developers. We try and build nice products in areas where people will want to live. The issues with development are always subjective, I find. Yes, someone can look at something from the outset and think, I don't want that in my backyard, as you said. I don't want something.
Yeah. When I fix it, I don't want it here.
Yeah, but then
what I find quite amusing sometimes, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a counsellor. We want it, but I don't want it by there.
Exactly that. There's not in my backyard. We want new properties. We want change, but not right next to me. And
don't put it by there so it affects me.
No, but that's fully understandable.
Yeah, of course. I understand it.
I'd be completely the same, but I think sometimes you need to look at the additional elements that will come with it. If you're producing something new, which will be a new comparable, which could enhance the end value of your own property, and also subjectively from the purchasers. People might want to buy something in that area to get their family, get their kids into a specific school or something like that. Yeah. And there's always two sides to it. Some people might be reluctant to something new, but then it's an opportunity for someone else. So I used to take it a bit personally, where so I'd have some negativity from proposed developments, but we are what we are now. All I've got to try and do is hope that, in my mind, I believe truly that what we're doing is positive, and try and convince people of our message. I never want to impact anyone negatively. Yeah. And if we can do something which I genuinely think will be of benefit to people, then great.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And you've done some great projects, and the last 4 years, I bet, like as you say, is where it started from. Would you see yourself, when you look back and you look at that 4 years or so you've been in, and just over 4 years, you look, well, do you ever look back and thinking that's starting from, I never thought we'd be here now?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's 5+ years, and we've come from doing refurbishment projects. We did some challenging ones. One of our first really big one was a 3,500 square foot refurbishment of a property that was built in 1906. Wow. We had to address
that's a good one. That's a good first one to take on, mate.
Absolutely. And it was a challenge, but we then grown to we're finishing a project now of a refurbishment of a bungalow, and then new build of 5 detached houses at the back. And it's not just the building element that comes with it. There was the acquisition of the land. There was restrictive covenants. There was legal issues. There was a huge amount of design and planning that we had to go to. I mean, we started physical work in terms of building those properties and marketing them at the end of 2019. Yeah. But I started the process of doing all the design and planning in mid or towards the end of 2017. So there's a huge build-up that doesn't get seen before you actually start on a project. And then we had 3 or 4 months of trying to get it off the ground. Typically in that time, it was end of the year. We had horrendous weather, and then we got to March 2020, and a pandemic came in. So
and how was it? And we spoke a bit about it offline with it, but talk us through the pandemic for you. The industry seems like really buoyant. Everyone I speak to within the industry is buoyant, but I suppose, how has it been? I suppose what that has done for you guys is made it quite hard to get tradesmen and how have you found it?
It's honestly been a complete nightmare the last year. The market is buoyant. The demand for properties is flying. Yeah. We've sold all of these properties from plan, and we've got some lovely, really genuinely really lovely buyers who are all excited to move home, but we legitimately can't build them quick enough at the moment. Right. There's been knock-on effect between the pandemic, Brexit, the Suez Canal, everything which has happened in the last year.
No, it's been, and I tell you what, it's been like a bit of a, talking about my industry or the industry I've been in, the staff have all left. Brexit, they've all taken the staff back over to Europe and they're not coming back over. It's like a bit of a perfect storm at the moment, Chris, isn't it?
It really, really is. And, we're really finding it hard at the moment in terms of, getting materials. Our contractors are really struggling with it. With labour, as well, there's so much demand for the backlog of work that there's been that contractors have been saying, we can't get to you until X time, dealing with statutory bodies, trying to get information in terms of when we can get service connections and things like that, because they are so overrun, they're so busy at the minute. Now make up with the loss of time that occurred and all of the knock-on effects. So it's been hard, because all we want to do is deliver this product that we've started on. We've got 2 other projects that we're currently moving into as well. And the plan was always to have finished the first, right, and then be on to the others. But now, because we are where we are, they're all overlapping.
So how are you juggling that then? What's the, talk me through your thought process with that. You've got 2 projects there. Is it finish off the ones we've got to do because they're the ones obviously the customers are waiting to go in? How do you juggle it?
Well, to a degree, we're kind of pushed now into having to commence, because we've got funding agreements, and the funding offers can expire, and so it's not pushed into it because the funders have been incredibly understanding of where we are. But also, we've already purchased some of these properties and lands, so there's a lot of money tied up in there already, and so the clock is ticking on loan periods, and so you need to just commence with them. So although it would have been ideal to have finished the first and then progressing on with the next 2, we are where we are now, and all we do is do our best to finish the first and then continue with the next. And the overall view of it is we've got work on. We're incredibly lucky to be in that position, because a lot of other businesses haven't been that lucky over the last year, and times have been very hard. So we're very aware of the fortunate position that we are, just to be able to continue our business at the minute. And all we can do is try and make the best of it. And I think most people that we're dealing with, whether it be buyers, agents, contractors, whatever, everyone understands that no one wants to be in the position that we are in terms of delayed on projects, but it is completely the result of third party, catastrophic world events that have caused a knock-on effect, and we've got to just do our best to wade out of it now.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you will do, mate. I'm sure you will do. So it's like, this like pivot out of it then. So a shared passion that we both have, and something that you've been really passionate about is obviously Rabina Rugby. Obviously very passionate about that. But what comes from that as well, some of the things I've seen you doing with them is like the 100K for Hobbsy, a lot of charity work you do for Headway. Talk us through, obviously the Headway charity that you've done a lot for. Talk us through how that's come about, and talk us a bit about, how that links into the, the Hobbsy, what we're doing now on the weekend, and, talk us through how the charity bit all came about.
Well, so in the midst of starting the company, in fact, while we were coming towards the end of that refurbishment of the 1906 property that I told you, my second child was born, and 4 weeks later, my wife suffered a subarachnoid brain hemorrhage, and it just completely tore our family apart.
I bet.
She was helicoptered to Bristol South Meads, where they said to me, look, your wife's had an aneurysm which has burst and is bleeding onto her brain. We have to perform 2 types of surgery now, and or otherwise she could die. And she then, after that surgery has been performed, has a 21-day critical period where XYZ can happen, and if any of those do, she could be paralyzed, she could be permanently brain damaged, or she could still die. And then after, she still had a long recovery, but the incredible outcome was that my wife is in the, I think, 15% bracket of people who go through what she did and come out on the other side successful. Hugely down to the incredible work that was carried out by the NHS staff at both Bristol, South Meads, and in the Heath. You know, the care and treatment and everything that she received was just phenomenal, and still is. You know, she still hasn't been fully discharged, but she is very much one of the lucky ones. And so basically, with it, Headway came about because quite early on, I was, literally sat in a waiting room with my head in my hands, thinking, "What is going to happen here?"
Cool.
I've got
kids by then as well, huh?
I had a 2-year-old at home and a 4-week-old baby. It wasn't for the support of my family, who Alex, my wife's parents and sister in particular, who moved into our house. Took time off work and moved into our house looking after my children so I could be there at Alex's side. It was phenomenal what they did and the support they gave us. But I was literally sat in this waiting room, and there's posters on the wall of Headway because we're in the neurological department. And so I just started reading a bit about them, and was aware, I suppose, at that point that they provide support. And we were at that point, we'd been moved to T4, which is the high dependency neurological ward at the Heath. And I was seeing a lot of people on a daily basis around us who weren't, you could already tell, weren't as fortunate as Alex was in terms of how the luck had gone, and they had completely life-altering effects, which they, for them and their family, life would never be the same. And so when we obviously had a long period then of making sure Alex was going to be getting back to herself. And it was actually to begin with, when she recovered, we were just talking one night, and it was like, wow, we are so fortunate. And the recognition, fortunate we were. We both said we want to do something to support the people who support the people who weren't as fortunate. So we set up a meeting. I went down to Headway Centre at Rookwood, and from going in there straight away and seeing the team and seeing the work they do and the support they provide it's one of those ones where the smallest of things can go the biggest distance. Just having a centre there that people who are struggling or who are now living with long-term effects of brain injuries, whether that be a traumatic brain injury from a car crash or an accident or something like that, or an acquired brain injury, an ABI, which is what Alex had, an aneurysm, a stroke or something like that. They provide support, a safe place that people can go to on a daily basis, the centre where they help them relearn basic skills, reading, writing. They do. There's a process
all the things we take for granted, mate. Huh?
All the things that they take for granted, and the service users themselves are lovely people who have all just had horrendous things happen to them, but have got a fantastic mantra about them and will to want to continue and want to get back on their feet. And the people at the support staff at Headway are phenomenal. And I read it the first time, and I thought, I want to help these people. I want to continue. They don't have a huge amount of funding, and they rely heavily on fundraising and things like that. And so we thought, if there's anything we can do to help continue that, we will. One of the first things we did was a black tie event, and during that black tie event, from a lot of the people who I'd invited there was a lot of business people, but there was a lot of people I've come into contact with in the rugby community over the years. As you said, I played for Rabina for a long time, and rugby's a special sport. The support network that you get from rugby, I don't think there's anything like it. That concept of on and off the pitch, you've got each other's back no matter what. And so at that black tie event, there was a few of us chatting and just said, we should do a charity rugby game. And so I said, that'd be great. So we organised the game in 2018 on the Arms Park. I started the Headway Select 15, which was, just this team I put together of guys I've played with and against over the years. And we played against Rabina.
It was slightly stronger than the opposition. I got to be honest, it was a cracking team you put together. But I bet what was great was just the response you got. I bet the boys just got fully behind it, eh?
Absolutely. I mean, the team has grown from there. It came from this one-off game to now we've become a team. We've played multiple games, and it's this. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the support of friends and guys who just got behind me, got behind the message. I mean, these guys It's not just like they turn up and, you know, have a game of rugby and that's that. All of it, there's numerous ones of financially supported, sponsored the team.
Yeah,
They volunteered down at the centre together. You know, Headway had a load of new furniture in that they needed for the centre for their service users. So we all went down there, got the tools out, and put it all together for them. And
yeah, it's brilliant. I think it's invaluable. I mean, the thing is, what we don't a lot of the time, like I've literally just become an ambassador for T Haven, and what I said to a good friend of mine, Lindsay Dodd, at the time, I said, look, I'll do it. He said, look, the biggest thing you can give is not your money, is your time. Because it's the time, isn't it? Time. And if the lads are willing to put their time and their body on the line to raise some money for a great charity like it is, I just think that goes wonders. But, you know, for you to start that and to see that must be so rewarding.
It's incredibly rewarding. Not so much like thinking what we've done. It's more seeing the benefits that it gives to the charity. Yeah, we've now, we just had an update actually. And since that first year, 2018, when we did it, we've now raised just short of £50,000 for the charity.
Amazing, mate. It's amazing. What an amazing achievement that is. I think you should absolutely applaud yourself. And you know, and the reason you do it, the why you do it is, you can feel that through this podcast, and it's brilliant.
I applaud the guys, not myself, because like I said, it's just
absolutely.
You know, if they hadn't got behind it and got behind what I wanted to do to support them and support me, the support they gave me while Alex was ill was amazing. So to still be doing that now, you know, however many years on is incredible. And you know, one of the peaks that we had was just before actually the pandemic hit, the day that Wales played England in the Six Nations. We played against London Welsh up at Old Deer Park, right. And that was an incredible experience. And that game alone, we raised, I think, £11,000 because the guys.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because I met a guy last night who I didn't know before, and I was speaking to him, and the memories he has of that game. He just said, that was the one thing I spoke to him about. It was like the London Welsh game. He said, that was just such an amazing day. I will never be able to take that away. And I was like, that's what it means to people, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's you know, we obviously, you know, we created a badge to represent this charity, but that badge now means so much to all of these boys, and obviously so much to me. And it's just lovely, generally, to see people getting behind a message that obviously I've got, you know, an ingrained in me connection to now for what we went through with Alex. But for people who have had no connection to that, but literally feel so passionate about it just from getting behind me, seeing the positive work that is being produced, that the charity do and everything. All of those guys are like, yeah, when's the next one? You know, what can we do to help? And I can't thank them enough for that. Genuinely.
Yeah, but that word in life, mate, and it's very true in business, in life, it's momentum, isn't it? And you keep the momentum going. And actually, we can all do and create some magical things. I think for you, you know, and the guys, amazing. I'm chuffed to be part of it on the weekend. And, you know, I just think, and just for the record, it is full contact Saturday, yes?
It is full contact, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get a mouth guard tonight. So my boy's been taking the mick out of me.
Having watched you last night, I'm sure you're going to bear up all right, mate.
We'll see, mate. We'll see. I say the last time my boy watched me play rugby, I ended up, I gave myself a red card because I was that bad.
Did you really?
Yeah, he was like, Dad, don't give yourself a red card. So I was like, no, sorry, mate. I won't.
Yeah, no. We'll have a bit of fun. I'm really looking forward to, again, you know, kind of getting back with that brotherhood of the team on Saturday and just enjoying a good day. Because as well, you know, yeah, well, it's not selfishly, but, you know, I look at it, though, as much as we're producing something, you know, for a charity and we're doing something for a cause, also it's something for us. You know, that everyone's got busy lives. You know, there's stress that comes with business and work and everything. And so to have that little release, that time away with the team and just blow some steam off and enjoy yourself is really important, I think.
Yeah, mate, it's invaluable, especially at this moment in time. So I do this with every guest, and I think it's right at the right time at this moment to bring that up. If someone wants to reach out to you, mate, someone's listening to this and thinks, I tell you what, I'd love to get into development, wouldn't mind the word, or there's certain things that the charity bit, you know, what's the best way to get in contact with Chris Case?
You know, whether it be through message on social media or whatever, you know, I think that's the thing today. You know, people are accessible, aren't they? Or via my my company email. There's an inquiry form on there. People can always get in touch. You know, we actively say on there, if you want to work with us, if you want to discuss opportunities, send over your contact information and a bit of details on what you're looking at. And yeah, you know, I think that's the one thing in business that we always say is, you know, we'll look at everything. We'll look at any opportunity because who knows what might come with it.
Well, exactly. So, take every opportunity as it is. So that's great. That's great stuff. So we're going into the last 3 questions now, bud. You know, it's come to that time. So give me 3 non-negotiables in life that to enter into Chris's world. What's the 3 non-negotiables that you stand by?
So there are 3. Okay, 3 non-negotiables, I suppose, standards that I hold myself to. Yeah. We kind of a lot of these in the general conversation, but I guess one is treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah,
we're all the same. Everyone comes in and goes out of this world the same.
Yeah.
You treat people exactly how you would want them to treat you. Also acknowledge that people won't always do that. But
no, I think the acknowledgement is right. But actually, as you say that, it's exactly the right way, isn't it? It doesn't matter if you do it yourself. I think there's a real strong element. If they don't do it, that's fine. You don't lay it to go down to their level, but you always stand above.
That's it. You know, is treat people the way you want it to be doing, even if they don't do it to you. You know, I suppose. And my second one, I suppose, is kind of like a lead on of that is just be kind. You know, on a daily basis, you don't know what someone's going through. You don't know the struggles and stress that anyone has. You know, people can wear a smile outwardly and be really struggling. There's a metaphor that they use for headway, which is of a swan, and a hashtag that they have is called underneath the surface, because, you know, a swan, you see it gliding on the lake above, it just looks very elegant and it's sliding along, but under the water, his legs are going hell for leather to be pushing it along. So, you know, under the surface, you don't know what's going on. So just be kind to people and you know, be conscious of what they might be going through. But my last one is family first. But business, whatever it might be, you know, especially after nearly losing the most important part of my life, you know, I am a soppy get. I will tell everyone that.
No. It's got me nearly crying here, mate. But you know, but that's how you are, and you know, I love that. I love that in yourself.
My wife is my world, and my children, and you know, to have been faced with the very real prospect that she was going to be taken away from me, just, you know, terrified me, and it tore me apart. So I just look at it every day now that whatever happens, whatever stress you're going through, as long as she and my children are okay, that's what matters. So my family above everything.
I love that. But actually, the extended value for you as well, and that, you know, you've got a great family around you, and they're a great bunch, all of them. And it's and I get that one totally.
No, I'm a lucky man. Definitely.
You are. We all are. So the biggest life lesson so far. So within Chris's world at the moment, what's the biggest life lesson you've had?
Life lesson is don't worry about things that you can't change.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, I stress about things sometimes which I have absolutely no control over. And I'm saying that right now, where it's a lesson I'm still trying to learn. But, you know, if it's something you can't control over it, it'll be what will be will be. Yeah. You know, don't worry about things that you have no control over.
Something my mum. A past podcaster says, Harry James, she says, what I do daily is control the controllables. I can't control the non-controllables. If I can't control it, why would I worry about it? And that's similar outlook, isn't it?
Completely, yeah. You know, if I fail at something because it's something that I've done which has negatively impacted it, you know, all I can ever do is hold my hands up and be aware and try and learn and grow from that. But if it's something that I have no control over, I can't beat myself up over it and I can't stress over it, because it is what it is, and you just gotta, rather than worry about why it's happened, look at the solution of how you can help it or change it. So
I love that. And especially in the development world, like you said, mate, you could pick up knock a wall down and there could be 10 problems behind it. So you can't control what's happened, but you can control how you react to it.
Yeah, as you said, react, adapt, and evolve to what's in front of you.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. I'm going to use that one as well, mate. That's another one I'm going to use. Right, so last question, right? So if you could go back and speak to a 16-year-old Chris Case right now, and he was sat right by you, what advice would you give him?
Put the Shockwaves hair gel down. You don't need that much.
I love that one. Put the hair gel down, bud.
No, I think it's reminding myself what I've just said there is, don't worry about things. And I think, I suppose just what I said to begin with, the whole crack on concept is have a go with things.
Yeah.
I think I say that now, but that comes with experience in life that you build up the confidence to think, yeah, come on, let's just have a go with it. And I think there's a lot of people starting out in school and business and sport and whatever they're doing. And, your mindset automatically can say to you, I can't do that. I shouldn't do that. I won't achieve that. You won't if you don't do it. Have a go. Yeah. And if you don't, at least you tried.
Yeah, I love that as well, mate. And there was one last question on that one. Would he have listened to that?
Absolutely not.
I totally agree.
Yeah, no, I was a very self-conscious kid. I was very, I would try and be sociable and things like that, but I was probably over anxious in everything I did and had no confidence in myself and my abilities to do everything, which often meant that I would, draw myself back from things. And I started, I remember someone saying to me, like, say yes to more things. Someone asks you to do something, say yes. Don't let your automatic response be, oh no, I shouldn't, I couldn't. Yeah, give it a go. And because everything that you can ever, that anyone will ever accomplish and everyone will ever get good at, they had to learn, they had to train that, they had to gain life experience, and you've got to start somewhere. So give it a go, get into it, crack on.
I love that. I would normally say goodbye, thank you, Chris, and goodbye, but I have got one thing to go through. Somebody came to me yesterday, a young lad, one of my son's friends, and he said, "Oh, I listened to your CrackOn podcast." And bearing in mind, this boy's 15. So I was like, "Oh, brilliant." He said, "I absolutely loved it." I said, "All right, okay." I said, "I tell you what, I'm filming one tomorrow. I'm going to give you a shout out." So here it is. So we're in Fitzgerald. If you listen to this one, thank you ever so much for the thank yous. But there we go. I'd say hello and good luck to. He's a great cricketer and a good friend of the family. So Owen Fitzgerald, thank you.
Good on him.
Yeah, good on him. But mate, honestly, that's the end of I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I knew I had to get you on, and like I said, a lot of things you've gone through. I wish you every luck with everything you do going forward. I know it'll be successful. I hope I'm part of that, and I know I will be because we've always been good friends. And look, good luck with everything you do, and love to the family.
Thank you, mate. It's been it was genuinely an honour to be asked to come on, and I'm very grateful to you for that. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. So thanks for having me.
I like it. Let's see if you're still saying that Saturday once we've played. But have a good night and crack on.
Thanks, John. Cheers. Take care.
Mate. I know I say this all the time, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Chris today. Me and Chris met. So the background really is me and Chris met many years ago, actually, probably about 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And yes, he was doing his promotion work, and we just hit it off from there. And what we have got in common, me and Chris, is one, he's all about charity, he's all about giving. But his persona, the way he talks to people, he's a very much a people person. And he will always, one of his traits he said was he will treat people the way he wants to be treated. And I think that's such an important lesson, life lesson, because that's the sort of why we've got commonality, because that's exactly how I like to lead my life. I will treat people exactly like I like to be treated myself. And I think if we all do that and we take one step every day to do that, like I said, everything works a bit easier and everything rolls a bit easier, and life becomes better. I love Chris's, like his story with Alex and his family and what he's been through, and to come out of that and to really make a positive side of it. There's not many people do that, and he has done it. Over £50,000 raised. So I really enjoy. I hope you really enjoyed it. Reached out to him. If you do, like it, share it, comment on it. But yeah, hopefully all he's done. He's doing himself proud. And I think I can see where he's come from and where he's going. He's going to be doing some wonderful things going forward. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. On to the next edition. Hey, have a great day. Crack on. Crack on.